Hey guys, Nick Wilson here. It is time for the second installation of the State of the Carolina Panthers. Today, we're going to walk down the offense. We're not going to walk it down. We're really going to examine the state of the Panthers' offensive roster. I'll go ahead and do this. I have my trusty co-host here, Travis Hancock. T-Bone from the Mac Attack.
I am here, and we're not alone.
No, we also have a pup. She will randomly intersperse some sort of communication to us to let us know whether she agrees with us or not. Let's get started with the offensive line here, though. When we start to look at this, for me, the strength is that they have Taylor Moton and bodies. They have a lot of bodies that they can throw at this next year, even though I still think they're probably going to come up short and need one or two extra guys.
There is actually strength of the offensive line, believe it or not, despite the fact that they've almost got multiple quarterbacks killed this year. To have the most rushing touchdowns in the league, which they have at 19, that means the offensive line has done something right. For McCaffrey to get 1,300 yards, the offensive line, somewhere along the way, has done something right.
Yeah,
not just pass protection.
And I would say they're probably, I think that would be their strong suit right now. I think they're probably, I actually view them more as solely a run blocking source. When it comes to weakness, I think the biggest weakness right now is you've got a lot of uncertainty across the line. Greg Van Roten's going to be a free agent. Greg Little is only able to play 4 games this year. Trey Turner has been injured, not that great. Matt Paradis has played pretty much all the games. It has not been that great. For me, it's the uncertainty of the offensive line that makes it not impossible, but tough to go ahead and say where we're going to go this offseason to fix it.
Too much juggling, not just week to week, but game to game this year, where the offensive line that started a game by quarter 2 may not be the same. Also, in terms of the negative stuff, Matt Paradis, the free agent signing from Denver, who got a very high Pro Football Focus grade last year, but was coming off an injury, simply was one of Marty's worst signings, if not his worst signings.
They've lied to us. Clearly, Pro Football Focus is now dead to us. Overall, I would grade this out as a D. I think there are some bodies here that can help you. It would not shock me if they needed two different spots to fill in this offseason.
I gave it a D as well, and part of that is because they just drafted a left tackle. Yeah. They signed a center, and we still go into this offseason with possible left tackle need because of Greg Little's uncertainty and Paradis being terrible. How long do you ride that out, despite the big money? So made moves.
Yeah.
There's still needs on the roster at those positions.
Now let's move to the tight end position, which is frankly the toughest to go ahead and get here. Greg Olsen, Chris Manhertz, and Ian Thomas. I'm doing this going forward into next year, assuming Greg Olsen isn't going to be here.
He might be doing this next year.
He actually might be doing the State of the Panthers
with Mabel.
With Mabel, next year with Mabel. We'll be out on the street.
Yes.
Their strength, blocking? No, Chris Manhertz. If we go forward, Chris Manhertz has been a very good blocking tight end. I don't know that we can count anything that Ian has done as a strength or weakness to this point. It's more of an unknown.
It is an unknown. I'm a little disappointed that there wasn't more of a balance this year between Olsen and Ian Thomas. Ian Thomas ends up with 12 catches for 128 on 23 targets, which he sort of added towards the end. He had 0 catches about halfway through the season. I thought we'd have more of a passing of the torch this year, Olsen, Ian Thomas. Haven't seen it. So, again, when we talk about needs of the offseason, Ian Thomas, we think he can be good. But as a starting tight end without Olsen, especially for a guy, if Cam was the quarterback that relied on Greg Olsen a lot, is Ian Thomas ready to go 700 yards, 800 yards beyond that? And that's another question mark is the tight end, and one they drafted recently, too.
And I think for me that becomes the weakness, the uncertainty with Olsen, whether he'll retire, and the uncertainty on Ian Thomas. I like what we've seen from him, but the only way these guys improve, practice is great. It's in-game reps. Ian Thomas has not got enough. That, for me, is the weakness. And I want to give you a chance to give your weakness and your grade here. The grade I would give is C. I like Manhertz as a blocking tight end. I like Ian Thomas a lot as a potential. But if you go into that next year and those are your tight ends, we're going to be looking and really not knowing what we have.
I gave it a D. There's a theme here with my grades. I gave it a D just because I wanted to see more out of Ian Thomas. Not all his fault, but only 23 targets for a guy we thought is the future tight end. I'm not writing him off. I just wanted to see more. And this is more about the lack of Ian Thomas than whatever Greg Olsen provided because, Olsen is what he is. He's tried hard this year when he's out there. But to me, this was more about what I wanted to see out of Ian Thomas more so than Greg Olsen. So I'm going to go D as I continue we're all about the D right now.
We are all about the D here on WFNZ. Moving to wide receivers is actually a bright spot. On the upper side, DJ Moore's been really, really good. Curtis Samuel has been explosive. They've not really maybe developed him on the outside. For me, when we get to strength here, I would go youth and the upside of these guys. I would say the weakness is depth, and I would probably also throw in that Curtis Samuel, I don't think, is a true outside receiver, so you probably need a second wide receiver to go, and maybe just use Curtis as again, jackknife, a knife of a man of all trades is what I was going for there, something like that.
Yeah, I didn't know what you meant there, Hacksaw. DJ Moore.
And that was the end of T-Bone.
DJ Moore, A+, right? 4th in the league in receiving yards, which is kind of weird. He's 4th in the NFC South in receiving yards. Figure that one out. That's how good the receivers are in the South. But DJ Moore, he's young. He's one of the best receivers in the game. He's an A+. The grade to me gets skewed because of the other guys, like Curtis Samuel. You and I were talking a couple weeks ago. What is he exactly? Yeah. You've seen more recently of what they should do with him, more of gadget stuff. But we thought he was a possible number 1.
Yeah.
Now he's more of is he even a 2, or is he like a 3 that you can do extra stuff with?
Is he Percy Harvin?
Yeah, and not even really as physically. DJ Moore is more the Percy Harvin running type. Samuel's a quick guy. I gave it a C overall because Moore, so good. But beyond that, they may need to add another receiver because we don't know what Samuel is. Samuel can be effective, don't get me wrong, but is he effective as a 2 or as a kind of a
See, I went more with a B. I do think Moore is so good, and I think Curtis is going to be a really great player for them. It's just about making sure you're utilizing him in the spot. But again, depth really does hold this back. Moving to running backs is a pretty easy one. Christian McCaffrey, he's the only one that friggin' counts here. He's clearly the strength, and that's to call him a strength isn't even fair. He's beyond strength. The weakness really is depth. We don't know what we have in Reggie Bonifant. You don't know what you have in Mike Davis or Jordan Scarlett. You got bodies there, so it's tough to say automatically depth is a problem. But again, it's the unknown of that I think is the concern should CMC get hurt.
Well, DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey were obviously the 2 no-brainer A's on the team. For the weaknesses, I mean, it's hard to even tell because we didn't see enough of them. Yeah. It's just a depth issue. So I gave it a B because McCaffrey puts it at an A. But there was some red zone issues this year running the football, even with McCaffrey. So I couldn't go just straight A all the way through. I thought B was fair because we don't have depth behind McCaffrey, and the goal line issues have been a problem. Even McCaffrey on the goal line, for as great as he is, certainly has been a thing in the last couple of years.
I went with an A there. That brings us to quarterbacks, the biggest question spot on them all. Of course, Cam Newton just had Liz Frank surgery. He's supposed to be ready by March. Kyle Allen has 25 turnovers, 27 turnovers this year.
As of press time.
As of the time of this, correct. That's a very important.
Yes.
He could fumble tomorrow at practice, God knows. But, there's uncertainty there. There's also Will Greer, who is yet to play this year. That might actually happen this weekend. To me, the biggest strength is you do have bodies. Whether you keep Cam or not, you do have options even behind Cam. From Cam to Kyle to Will, if you just brought those 3 guys back next year, I would imagine that one of them is going to be able to play sustainable football for you. The weakness is just health and readiness. I mean, is Will Greer ready to play? Is Kyle Allen capable right now of making the jump as a starter? And then Cam Newton get healthy.
Well, I put Kyle Allen as a strength for one thing. He proved he can play in the league.
That's fair.
That is a strength. We know the weakness isn't the turnovers. He's at least proved that he's a backup in the league and can be on a roster, if not this one. The weakness is he's not a starter.
Yeah.
That was the weakness. And I actually gave this one, Nick, an incomplete grade. That's not a Kyle Allen joke there. That's a missed
opportunity. That is a run.
We only saw so little of Cam. We saw Kyle Allen. We haven't seen Will Greer for whatever reason yet. So only seeing really fully one of the 3 guys. I didn't give it a full grade. We can grade Kyle Allen, but I can't grade the whole room based off of Cam not playing and Will Greer, who has gone missing, by the way. And if you've seen Will Greer, please report him to your local offensive coordinator.
He's got a nice beard. Meanwhile, moving overall here, I think the biggest reason for optimism is they do have great skill players, and I think there's a lot of upside there. If you can get a healthy quarterback, be that Cam or anybody else, that should tell you if you do a couple things right alongside a healthy quarterback, you could have a nice team there. The reason for cynicism for me, depth the trenches, and uncertainty at quarterback. There's a fair amount of here. A lot to be excited about, a lot to be concerned about as well.
Optimism are the reasons, bless you, Mabel. The optimism is the reasons that you said. Two elite offensive players in DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey that no one in the league may have that combination of running back and receiver. The reasons for cynicism, as I get my sheet out here, there are so many offseason questions from Marty Herney's status, Cam's future, a new head coach, offensive line help, wide receiver, tight end, secondary, defensive line. It goes on and on and on. There are so few certainties with this team. You've got McCaffrey, Moore, Kuechly, Shaq Thompson based off a contract, Tepper the owner. But besides that, there are so many areas that you don't know where it could go good directions.
I think,
but there's a lot of question marks up in the air right now. I just threw them up in the air. So
they're still they've not come down as of yet.
Okay.
I think the big thing here is you have to deal with the trenches, and this is both sides of the ball. This is the kind of off season where people aren't going to think it's sexy. You got to get 2 starters on the offensive line. I would say at least. You probably have to find 1 or 2 starters on the defensive line. But again, to me, it starts in the trenches with this team. You could be exponentially better next year just by dealing with the offensive line.
And some things that we were talking about this morning on the Mac Attack that's a little frustrating. They addressed the corner opposite Bradbury and Dante Jackson. That's sort of in flux now.
Yeah.
They addressed left tackle because of the injuries to what. So even areas that they addressed, there's question marks still. So the great evaluator of college talent, Marty Herney, passed the first round.
People are still very frustrated by that comment by Dave Tepper.
You know, I used to be a great evaluator of college talent back when I was looking for the.
I mean, you can still be a good evaluator of college talent. It's just creepier now.
Yeah, I can't sign them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could, but again, people would judge you and grade you thus.
Yeah, that's true.
Overall grade for the offense in the state of this roster heading into this year, I would say C+.
I gave him a D.
Ooh,
because
speaking of college talent,
I'm basing that off of my own expectation.
All right, guys, that is the state of the Panthers here with T-Bone. T-Bone, thanks for helping out, brother.
Sorry about Mabel. I didn't know she'd make so much noise.
She was the star. All right, guys, next week the state of the Panthers returns. I will be joined by Josh Parcell, and we'll be breaking down the head coaching search for the Carolina Panthers. Until then, Nick Wilson, WFNZ on Twitter.
Yeah, you are on Twitter.
What's your Twitter handle?
At T-Bone WFNZ, yeah.
All right, guys, thanks.